Cheryl?
Darren Batella, thank you for that live report. And this is what's happening across the country. A record 53 to 75 million passengers expected to take to the skies this summer. But with recent close calls putting aviation safety in the spotlight, questions were made about what's being done to keep our airspace safe. Joining me now, FAA Administrator Bryan Bedford. It's great to have you here, sir. And there's so many now incidences that we're talking about and seeing, whether it's the American and Air Canada jet, the close call there, the two Southwest planes, there was a close call, and of course we had a recent incident at LaGuardia with that fire truck and those two pilots that died from Air Canada. All of this, gives the flying public a little bit of pause. How do you address their concerns right now?
Well, first, thanks for having me on the program, Cheryl. I can tell you that the aviation system's extremely safe. We carry over 1 billion passengers a year. We're moving almost 19 million flights a year, so the system itself is extraordinarily safe. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't focus on making the system even safer when we have the opportunities. And that's what we're doing in a number of different ways, mainly wrapped around re-equipping our nation's facilities, air traffic control facilities, with the right people and the right equipment and technology in order to do the best work possible.
You are, again, and you and, of course, Secretary Duffy are making sure that the air traffic control system is being upgraded, that old technology is being thrown out and replaced with new systems. As that's underway, another idea that's been put out by the NTSB and the chief of the NTSB is, this $50,000 fix for each aircraft. Maybe it's large aircraft at first where pilots have more of a screen and they can see the planes that are around them, giving the pilots more tools to make sure that they maybe have awareness in the cockpit before even air traffic controllers do. Is that something that you see advancing?
I do see that advancing, Cheryl. It's something Secretary Duffy and I both agree on, is all aircraft in the nation's airspace should have some electronic signature that we can track and see in real time. And then using additional tools such as machine learning and artificial intelligence, we can actually anticipate where the planes will be when they're flying through our airspace. And that will certainly allow the controllers to focus on the exceptions rather than all 18 million flights over the course of a year.
Well, it's certainly a part of that is funding from Congress, and I want to follow up on that. But you mentioned AI. Let's talk about this because, the FAA is introducing AI-powered systems that can predict air traffic, can predict weather. But now the debate has become how much of aviation could be handed over to automation as we talk so much about the future of transportation. What does that mean to you? And do you think there needs to be guardrails put in place as more and more the air traffic control towers, the controllers use AI to assist them?
Well, so keep in mind, President Trump and Secretary Duffy want to unleash American drone dominance, advanced air mobility, supersonic technologies reintroduced into the United States, and of course an increasing launch in space. So we've got to adjust the system and enable the system to do a lot more with the very finite airspace that we have to manage. So there's no working around machine learning or AI. It has to be part of the solution, but we will build and are in fact building a smart system that will allow the machine learning to assist controllers, not replace controllers.
But at least that helps the controllers do a better job, because we know that it is a very stressful position. That's something I've talked to the Secretary about in the past. The other thing I've talked to the Secretary about is just the airspace in general. It is more crowded now. How do you address those concerns with more and more aircraft? And it's not just planes. We're talking drones. We're talking about flying taxis. We're talking about automated vehicles. All of this space, the SpaceX IPO, all of this makes the skies and, of course, the space above more crowded. Does that concern you? And are you and your agency doing more work to make sure that all of this is rolled out, this new technology is rolled out in a timely but safe manner?
Absolutely. So we've been working over 10 years on drones and unmanned aerial vehicles. And we have absolutely strong line of sight on how we can introduce drones and expand drone usage safely within the airspace system. And we are now working on 26 different states on 8 different eVTOL projects, learning how to introduce those products into the commercial national airspace system in a very safe and effective way. So I feel confident we've got the right performance standards that will maintain absolute airspace safety. But again, what we're talking about now is how do we expand the use of this finite resource in ways that make the system not just safe, but safer, and allow the customer to have a much better experience.
Well, to follow up on that, I mean, you are the process of certifying aviation technology. This is drones, this is flying taxis. Companies, though, are kind of pushing back, and they're saying, look, this lengthy approval process, it's slowing their path to getting to market. And when you see these new technologies, these flying taxis, commercial aviation, et cetera, when you see it out there, people think, wow, I would love to get to my destination faster. How do you work with your corporate partners to make sure that this is done in a timely manner?
Transparency and accountability is the short answer. We are creating a transparent infrastructure on how drones, as well as eVTOL, and frankly anyone who's trying to certify a new vehicle in this country, can actually have clarity on the process, and then we're accountable to that process. I will tell you, what we're trying to do is create an infrastructure for innovation, one that the FAA is not prescriptively telling you how you have to do it, but we're telling you the type of performance that we expect, and especially safety performance. But Cheryl, let's talk about these innovative technologies. Counter-rotating propellers, lithium-ion battery propulsion, electric motors. These are things that, flight autonomy, these are things that simply haven't been certified in the past. And we're taking these novel technologies and we're integrating them into a single vehicle now. I think the public absolutely wants us to ensure that these vehicles will be safe and reliable to operate. And that's what we're going to do.
Well, safety first, but it is certainly an exciting time for air travel in general. Yeah, Bryan Bedford, it's great to see you, sir.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.